Hello, it's Scott Manley here, and today we're going to look at The Mandate. Now, The Mandate is not a game that is complete by any means. It is currently in Kickstarter. It has about 21 days left, and another $300,000 to go. It is a complete sci-fi experience in a unique, historically inspired world. That's their words. Basically, it's you captain a spaceship, you're the captain of a dynamic, evolving crew and all that. And the universe is more or less modelled on imperialist Russia from the 19th century. So, you know, you have the czars and the dukes and everything going on there. Kinda also makes me think of the adaptations of Dune. Anyway, as part of promoting their Kickstarter, they've so far released 3 mini modules that let you examine parts of the game, and I'm actually just going to play through these. They're not actually games in and of themselves, but there's a lot of content in there that's worth looking at. And I hope that by looking at it, maybe you'll look at the Kickstarter and spend some money on it, because you know what? I really want to play this game. So without further ado, let's head over and look at their spaceships. So this is the first of the tech demos that was released for The Mandate. It is a ship viewer, but it's mostly going to show you a whole bunch of stuff which they have planned for the final release. So you can select the parts of your ship, and of course, as you can imagine, you can swap these things back and forth. Let's use that. Let's use this in the middle section, and I think, yeah, there's no special options in the rear section. Next tab lets you go in and change colors, so I can do something utterly god-awful if I like. Oh yeah, that's gonna look fabulous. Obviously there's a lot more options. Oh wait, yeah, there's more stuff here. We can, let's make that green. And we can adjust things like the engine glow size. Ooh, wow. Ooh. So these are all adjusting the graphics on the fly, and presumably you can tweak all these for your own spacecraft. Oh, what? Oh my god. Wow, this is interesting. Okay, and a quick reset later. We can step forward to the next part. We can decide whether we want our spacecraft to look like an assault cruiser, a support cruiser with more big guns, or a bombardment cruiser which is bristling with big guns. Well, I like big guns, so let's keep those around. Next, we can select our background. Now, the backgrounds, they say, are going to correspond to environments in the game. You know, you'll be able to try and escape from large ships by flying through an asteroid field, or you can fly into nebula and, you know, make your sensor or hide from the sensors of other ships. That's obviously things they have planned, but obviously it depends on how much money they get in the end. Let's stick ourselves in the asteroid field. Asteroids do not concern me, Admiral. I want that ship, not excuses. So yeah, we have the spacecraft and it's flying through the asteroid belt, and you can turn the engine off, and the shield is up. You can throw an asteroid at it. Look at that. And it smashes into the shield. Rather pretty there. Look at that. So you can, of course, fire loads of them at the shield, and it makes a hole in it. So if I fire a load here, we actually damage the hull underneath. And of course, if I imagine this vessel is stricken, I can fire a whole, you know, salvo of asteroids against it, and we'll see the damage coming in. But I can actually take up a laser and start cutting into the hull here, and literally cut holes in the hull. And you see right now that there's gas leaking out. Now, right now there's a very simple framework inside, but as I understand it, one of their plans is that you will literally be able to cut into decks, and there will be a boarding map where, oh, look at the people flying out. That's awesome. I hadn't seen that before. Oh dear, I'm taking far too much joy from this. People flying in. Let's repair that. Maybe if I repair it, then the people will come back. So yeah, you can come in and repair all this damage so your spacecraft looks as good as new. Wax on, wax off. Wax on, wax off. Yes. Now, laser! Yeah, let's just cut it. Where should we cut it? We'll cut it here this time. Bang! Nobody coming out of this one. Yeah, I think the middle section is clearly the place to go if you want bodies to go flying. Oh, there we go. Yes. You're free! Free to explore the universe! Ah! Yes, so this is their ship generator. Let's take a look at the other parts they've released. Okay, so the second tool they released was the character creator example. Now, this is where you really get a flavour of what the Mandate background is, how it kind of differs, how their universe is interesting. So, yeah, we start out, we're going to just go through the character creation process. We have a choice of 4 backgrounds. The Romanovs built the first gates and claimed the Mandate. For hundreds of years, they have ruled over humanity as emperors from the capital at Novi Petersburg. They hold themselves to be guardians of humanity and defenders of civilization. Others see them as autocratic, stifled by tradition and riddled with corruption. As a descendant of the Romanov colony ship, you are heir to a tradition of service and hardship, the burden of the Mandate. Then you have the Europa, who are known for diplomats, the Arkwright colonies settled in worlds rich in metal and other, so they're space dwarves. And then you have the Black Eagle. They are no strangers to conflict. Before they joined the Mandate, border wars and so these are your, obviously, your thieves. These are your dwarves. These are your wizards, and I guess that means that these guys must be the other groups. Let's just go with the Romanovs. So you see my reputation has adjusted, so I click go to the next one. We have the Mandate, the Rebels, and the Pirates. So what are our options? We could be from the Imperial family, Pagodin, or Zubov. Let's just pick this first one. What does it say? You are related to the Imperial dynasty itself. You grew up in palaces surrounded by attendants and servants, while your family attended the affairs of state. You are used to luxury, yes, but also to duty. Your family bears the terrible weight of the Mandate to rule wisely and justly over the worlds of humanity, and you were expected to take your share of that burden. Great things were expected of you, as befits a scion of the Romanovs. So, okay, so we click through, and now what we have to do, I think we pick a home world, and I don't know where the home world... Novi Petersburg is an obvious home world. The political centre of the region has rapidly grown and is considered the home to many of the prominent families of the empire. So, once again, Mandate reputation going higher, and I get engineering skill, whatever that does for me. Okay, so I can be... You can just click names randomly, actually. Oleg, Artem, Sergo, Anton, Artem Raskolov, and I can be female or male, and yeah, there's no other things. Oh, look, he's holding a Starship Enterprise. Look, it literally is. It's an Enterprise there he's got. Actually, I think that's William Riker, but before, you know, I don't know. It's a Russian William Riker. So wait, I wonder, we should call him Riker. Riker, there we go. That's what we'll do here. So I guess I can do some, you know, attribute point things which don't actually matter to me right now because we haven't got the full game running just yet, but we can step forward now. Now is the time to chronicle your adventure. In this preview, you will visit 5 planets before progressing to the next step. After each step, your choice... Wait a sec. 5 planets before progressing to the next step. Okay, after each step, after each jerk planet, I guess, your choices will be documented in your dossier, which is accessible at the bottom of the screen. Captain Riker Raskolov, let us set course for Providence and shoot at CVA. Fire in space! Fire aboard a starship is a captain's nightmare. The flames devour oxygen, suffocating the crew in minutes. While every ship has fire suppression systems and other countermeasures, things can go wrong. A fuel explosion in a hangar bay raged out of control. There were a dozen crewmen still trapped in that section, but the fire threatened to spread to the engine deck, and the fire suppression systems in that area were offline due to battle damage. Did you open the hangar doors, extinguishing the fire and sacrificing those dozen brave souls, or did you trust in your engineering team to fight fires with hand extinguishers? I have engineering skill, I'm totally doing this. All hands to the pumps! Your engineering team held back the fires long enough to get the fire suppression system back online, and the ship was saved. The 12 crewmen in the hangar bay all survived with only minor issues. I accept this fate. Okay, let us head to Starfall. Even before the Emperor's death and the revolt of the Fringe Worlds, several systems threatened to break away from the Mandate. The leaders of the Fringe Worlds, Starfall, sympathized with the Separatists, so the Emperor dissolved the government and installed you as military governor over the Starfall system. The civilian population protested. How did you deal with this problem? By sending in the troops to break up the protests? Or did you offer to meet with the protesters? I'm gonna meet them. Too late! You held your position until you could clear the sensor jamming. By the time you had a clear signal, it was too late. The Admiral had sent a fighter squadron to ambush the rebel ships, and your role was to distract the rebels until the fighters were in position. Your delay left the fighters exposed and they were destroyed. Your ship was safe, but the battle was lost. Accept the fate. Okay, let's head over to Harrispice Station. Due to pilot error, another warship struck you at low velocity while maneuvering at a starbase. While both crews were at fault, most of the blame should have fallen on the helmsman of the other vessel. But he was the son of a Grand Duke. His father asked you as a personal favour to protect his son. Did you support your crew or the Grand Duke? I'm sorry, I'm supporting my crew. You stood by your crew and the Duke's son was humiliated and cashiered. Okay, the Duke never forgave you and swore to ruin your career. I can see where this is going. I accept the fate. Let us set course for Lumia Alpha. You intercepted a transport believed to be smuggling arms to a separatist fringe world. While your boarding parties were searched the freighter for illegal weapons, 3 separatist warships appeared at long-range scanners. Did you stay and risk your whole ship by fighting, or did you abandon your boarding parties and beat a hasty retreat? Leave no man behind! 3-to-1 odds meant your ship sustained severe damage in the engagement. You saved the boarding party, but at the cost of the lives of many of your crew. Accept the fate. Finally, let us go to Victoria. While visiting Victoria, you were invited along with several other captains to a retirement dinner for Admiral Sampson, hosted by Grand Duke Arkwright. During the dinner, you impressed the Grand Duke with your accounts of your past deeds. The friendship and patronage of a Grand Duke is a powerful boon. Did you ask him to improve conditions in your home world, or to help your career? I'm going to ask him to help my career. The Duke arranged for you to be given a prestigious assignment on Novi Petersburg, putting you close to the seat of power in the Mandate. There you made connections and alliances that helped your career immeasurably. For a time, you were one of the rising stars of the Grand Fleet. Military service, so this is all our details. 3-to-1 odds, etc., etc. Now, what happens next? Now there's the fall. Something goes wrong. I lose reputation, but I gain either personal combat or leadership or fleet command. I don't know. They arrested you for failure to uphold the Mandate. They piled the weight of all their failures onto you, concocting elaborate scenarios that explained why everything was your fault, and how your court-martial would be the turning point in the war. It was a turning point, all right. The rebels grew bolder. More worlds demanded to be allowed to leave the Mandate. From your prison cell, you watched the Mandate crack and splinter. So you might have noticed that these are all bad intergeneration processes. The fall, you ultimately end up court-martialed, and I think you have to start from your prison cell and more or less work your way back up through the ranks or whatever. Anyway, let's go on and look at the final part that they've released. So the final part is this little text-driven adventure. Now obviously this is more indicative of the writing rather than anything else. The graphics are deliberately DOS, kind of MS-DOS level. They even actually use the MS-DOS system font that was created by Christman. So anyway, yes, even in the days of rebellion and the Civil War, worlds turning each other, blah 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 blah, you're basically going to follow the trail of Jason Houth, the pirate. So I press space to continue. You came from the fringe world of Casterlight. Colonists from Arkwright worlds settled this tiny moon 2 generations ago. Titanic glaciers cover most of Casterlight. The only inhabitable region is a narrow band along the equator. You grew up in one of the artificial islands that float on these iceberg-crowned seas. Your family are synth kelp farmers. Your only exposure to the wider galaxy comes once every autumn, when your father takes you along to the spaceport to watch the huge freighters carry the synth kelp harvest off to the wealthy planets of the core. Perhaps you dream of leaving the icy seas and the back-breaking labour of your childhood by joining the crew of one of those cargo ships. Or perhaps even as a child your thoughts already have the darker taints of piracy. Whatever emotion the sight of those ships stirs for you, years have no choice but to return to the kelp farms and work alongside your family. The first synth kelp farms were automated, but salt water and cold meant that the machines required constant maintenance or replacement, so the colony administrator relied more and more on humans for labour instead of robots. By night you study. By the time you come of age, you have chosen the career that you believe will dominate your life. I'm gonna become a pirate. You spend months watching ships come and go from this spaceport. Most of them are sluggish cargo ships, straining to lift off under the weight of the synth kelp and other resources looted from Casterlight. You know that your family are effectively indentured slaves, and that your father will only ever see a fraction of the real value of his work. The nobles and corporations will take all the rest, and much as you'd like to hurt them, you won't do it with a cargo ship. Too slow, too unwieldy, and too many crew. Those smaller patrol boats, though, are perfect, fast, well armed for their size, and designed for long missions with limited resupply. They land here on Casterlight every few months to take on water and other supplies, and for their crews to enjoy the seedy pleasures of the port town. You've come up with a plan to storm one of these patrol boats. I'm going to trick the crew into abandoning their ship. Part of the pre-launch sequence for a ship involves a de-icing spray that clears the hull of any build-up that might interfere with takeoff. You add a chemical to the spray that affected the ship's environmental sensors, tricking the crew into thinking that there was a fuel leak. From your perch on the de-icing rig, you watch as they open the hatch and abandon the ship in a panic, leaving their ship ripe for the taking. All pre-flight checks done, all systems ready to go. You take off from Casterlight and never look back. You're a pirate captain now, master of your own ship and your own destiny. The galaxy is yours to conquer, but you'll need to recruit more crew. There are hungry peasants, disgraced naval officers, greedy thieves. You need an officer, though someone you can rely on in the thick of battle. There are 3 likely candidates: Gregor the Beast, a mass murderer; Alia, a former officer; and Old Bastable, a veteran pirate. I'm gonna go with Gregor. Gregor lives up to his reputation. It's the custom of some pirates to steal the dog tags from the corpses of any marines they kill, so they have a trophy of their victory. Gregor doesn't bother removing the tags. He arrives on your ship with a freezer full of bloody heads. The crew whisper that he talks to them, and sometimes they answer back. But you don't have time for superstition. You have your first officer now. It's time to attack. You order Gregor to find some targets worth taking. Your new first officer recommends 3 potential targets for your next raid. The first option is the shipping hub at Liberty. It's deep inside Mandate space, but there are always rich trade ships there. If you can get in and out quickly enough, you could snatch a valuable cargo right from under the guns of the Grand Fleet. The second potential target is out on the fringe. Recently the Emperor dispatched one of his senior councillors, Duke Zakovnin, to the outer colony of Christianopol. In an attempt to calm the tensions between the core and the fringe, Zakovnin's convoy carries with it the treasure and bribes for the more troublesome outer colonies. He travels with a military escort, but it's still a tempting prize. The third option is to play it safe and stay out on the fringe worlds, preying in bulk on cargo carriers and mining ships. With luck, you'll run into a ship with valuable cargo that justifies an otherwise long and fretful hunt. I'm just going to go for the mining colonies. There's a thin line between audacity and madness. There's an equally thin one between caution and cowardice. For several months you hunt mining ships and bulk transports. None of them have the firepower to challenge you, but none of them have anything worth stealing. Your crew grow increasingly angry at the quality of the loot. They don't want to risk their lives for unprocessed ore or algae tanks. The captain's lost his nerve, they whisper. You've lost their respect, and that's a wound you can't recover from. It's almost a formality when an ambitious young pirate cuts your throat as you sleep, dumps your body in an airlock and claims the ship and title for herself, huh? Maybe she'll have the courage to be the scourge of the Mandate. You fought against the Mandate, but something held you back. Perhaps you lacked the cruelty needed to be a pirate, or perhaps you were just unlucky. Game over. So yeah, there's a whole lot of other options in there. You can explore it, and again, it's more an indication of the writing rather than the game, the environment. But yeah, the game is The Mandate. It's on Kickstarter. It has 21 days left. I really want to play it. Please go and fund it. I think it's worthwhile. It looks like it's going to be really high quality production. I'm Scott Manley. Fly safe.